headlines. The National Assembly by-elections in Mongar and Nganglam constituencies on 29th June. A man arrested for allegedly stabbing his flatmate to death in Thimphu. And archer Karma earns a place in the Tokyo Olympics in Japan. Kuzampo, you're watching BBS News with me, Pukam. The by-election for the National Assembly members of the Mongar constituency in Mongar and Nganglam constituency in Pemagasil will be held on 29th June. The Election Commission issued the notification today. As per the National Assembly Act, the Mongar and Nganglam constituencies have been declared vacant.
The candidates from the ruling party, Druk Nyamrup Chokpa, and opposition party, Druk Pinsum Chokpa, will have to file the nominations by 24th May and begin the campaign the very next day. Both the parties did not want to reveal the candidates for now. Meanwhile, rumors arrived that Karmal Hamo, the Druk Pinsum Chokpa's candidate for the last 3 parliamentary elections, will be contesting as the Druk Nyamrup Chokpa's candidate from Mongar constituency. She deregistered as a deputy member in 2019. Dashu Sharab Gelson, representing the Druk Nyamrup Chokpa from Mongar constituency, formally stepped down from the post of the Home Minister and as a Member of Parliament earlier this month. He was convicted of claiming false vehicle insurance and sentenced to 2 months in prison. The case is now in the Supreme Court. Cheda Jamso, the Druk Pinsum Chokpa's Member of Parliament from Nganglam constituency in Pemagatsel, passed away last month at Beilandra in Wangdepodrang from food poisoning. According to the Election Act, a by-election for filling any vacancy to Parliament shall be held within 90 days from the date of the occurrence of the vacancy. Kinjang Hadin for BBS News.
The residents of Samsi and Gomtu towns will be allowed to move out beginning tomorrow. However, the movement is restricted to walks within the zones and as per the time prescribed on the movement cards. A complete lockdown in Samsi and other smaller towns were imposed when a couple tested positive in Teshichaling. The Zonka COVID-19 task force also enforced total lockdown in 6 Keoks to the west of Samsi. Meanwhile, a primary contact of the couple tested positive today. Over 900 RT-PCR tests were conducted in Teshichaling as part of mass screening until yesterday evening. A mop-up screening was continued today. The small vegetable sheds in different zones in Thimphu are still failing to attract vendors. Out of 14 mini and medium vegetable sheds in Thimphu, 10 sheds are opened for business as of today. The construction started in September last year and was supposed to be ready by November. The government decided to open small market sheds to reduce the risk of virus spread.
While almost all 8 mini vegetable sheds are occupied, the spaces in the 2 medium sheds are mostly empty. This one is in Lungthimphu. It can accommodate 15 vendors, but there's only 6 today. The story is no different in Taba. Only 3 vendors are selling vegetables here, which have spaces for 12 vendors.
I used to sell vegetables at the Centenary Farmers Market, but after the lockdown, when we were distributed sheds, I got here in Taba. We shifted here from this month after the home they informed us to do so. But the business is not good here. Many of my friends thought that CFM will function like before and they left this place. I also thought that I will leave, but if I cancel here, I may not get space later if CFM remains closed.
It is helpful. They built a house and the rent is also reasonable. But there are only 3 of us here, and people are confused about whether the shed is open or not. Otherwise, the government has built this shed for the benefit of the public.
Since it is new, I think people are not aware of the vegetable sheds here. I'm very hopeful that people might start coming soon. As of now, there are not many customers. I'm concerned. The rent is 7,300 Newton per month.
The business is not doing well. People take in a very less quantity. It is difficult to make rent from the business here. There are already so many vegetable markets in this area.
There were almost 500 vegetable vendors at the Centenary Farmers Market. Today, with just about 100 vendors, the market is operating with 1/3 of its capacity as per the government's directives since October last year.
the dagunale fa jui kongi kadimchibe kesel chabbe mongba thong na cfm thongthom di dambe asobachen te dinyang khadi ngachigi ba mithe ese te thomde khathule beru devra imbe taregi cancel chabbe lokjomi chacha mongpal kokap di thopsuwala haung ase di devra jogo se shunila.
The government is encouraging the CFM vendors to move out to the zones because the market is dominated by vendors and not farmers. The remaining 4 medium vegetable sheds are expected to be ready by this month. But the 14 sheds will accommodate only about 100 vendors. The Agriculture Minister said there are plans to construct more sheds. He said the CFM is not going to close. The plan is to keep local farm produce from across the country at the CFM's ground floor and supply it to vendors. The upper floor would be a zone market. Samtan Dolkar, PBS News.
A small city with major traffic annoyance. This is the most recent issue of discussion in the capital. The closure of one road has wreaked havoc on the capital's traffic flow. Going to work has never been the same since the closure of the Siluka-Hejo road for the residents of Thimphu.
It is about 7:30 in the morning and vehicles are moving at a snail's pace. This is how the traffic looks in Thimphu these days. No one expected the problem to escalate. For instance, a normal commute of about 10 minutes from Pamso to town now takes almost an hour. The ripple effect is felt across the city. And now officials are recommending different means to deal with the problem. Thimphu Thomde also added 3 city buses for Taba, Pamso and Heju.
Mimangkel ringi bus gi shapto yobachin di shapto lena ase shuni te chidi da mimangi gachi jagob du sewachin da carpooling se lame bala inke nalu bewachin da dari ngache tawdalu mi lashara da gari nalu mi rere yan nini mamra anebedu yan bendigi carpooling beda wachin namesem tab deon se
pangache dukur bus na chim sema tango bebila ta tare tebe be teboda asita madu de ta yadama ni be bodalo atsti lamgi jake chunku bendigi asita madu themme shunila.
As per the records with the Road Safety and Transport Authority, there are more than 60,000 vehicles in Thimphu. The road from Zilika till Heju was closed beginning Monday. A 4-lane road is under construction.
Nagi legaldi nahi inta ngabanalebe gochube te tigale ngachigi gochube dalu lochigi ringlube ngachigi nagi ladi nimdi ladi lochina judu go pinla te tausum de chidi ngachani te niam digi bebe ngachi ladi te ngachiragi chashida tibe be masula.
The road will remain closed till the end of this month, but the construction is expected to be completed by the end of August this year. But with increasing number of vehicles, people say the problem is here to stay until there is a long-term solution. Ishidoji, PBS News.
The Thimphu police arrested a suspect yesterday who allegedly murdered a 38-year-old man in Babisa. He was arrested from Karipu at around 11:30 p.m. The police said the deceased, who is from Samsi, was found dead in his apartment in Babisa yesterday morning with a stab wound in his chest. The suspect and the deceased were living together. A friend of the deceased informed the police about the incident. The deceased and the suspect worked with one of the private companies. It is not yet known what happened between the two as the police continue the investigation. Hoteliers in Galifu are fighting water issue once again. After the shortage was addressed, now it's the water quality that has become an issue. They have been receiving muddy water in their taps for almost a week now.
The water has started flowing from the taps, but the water is muddy and murky.
The water is not clean and it is not fit for cooking purpose, and the customers are not comfortable.
The water is very dirty. We cannot drink it. We use mineral water.
But the Galifu Tomde is helpless.
지메철인 겨울에 마타란 데가 지기에는 랜드슬라이드기나 루치 사루치 되게 되는데 온디 기베 맵담에 받아가시니 다 같이 홍톨레디 같이 베타일라.
There are around 35 hotels and restaurants in Galifu town, and they have to wait until the Mao River clears. For Karmawandi in Sarpong, Sam Tendolkar, BBS News.
Shemgang is facing an acute shortage of stones and aggregates. This has worried the local contractors. They are facing difficulty to meet the deadlines of various construction works in the district.
Local contractors in Shemgang are worried as there isn't enough supply of stones and aggregates in the district. This, they said, is hampering the timely completion of their projects. As of today, they are managing with the stones and aggregates brought from other districts.
The previous crushing plant was sold to a man who set up a small quarry that does not serve our purpose. It frequently gets damaged and affects the materials delivery. We do not know what the problem is as we are not getting stones and aggregates like before. So we are bringing in the materials from a crushing plant at Yumrong in Tongsa, although it's quite expensive. Things have become very difficult for us.
For quality work and finishing, we need quality stones. But we are finding it very difficult to get one. As such, we are unable to produce good quality work. Unavailability of stones hampers our work as we cannot finish the works on time.
If we can discuss among the stakeholders and build a crushing plant here, it would be of great benefit to everyone, and the government in particular can generate revenue.
When there is a shortage of stones, it ultimately hampers our works as it then becomes difficult for us to complete the work on time. And when we collect from the road surface, the forest officials then intervene and do not allow us to do that. So, we don't know what to do.
The district, however, has a privately owned stone crushing plant at Humdar near Tingtibe. But the stone crushing plant does not serve its purpose. It remains closed most of the time due to frequent breakdown of machines, unavailability of spare parts, and lack of skilled workers at the site.
Mainly, we do not have a quarry to extract stones, and to date we crush the stones stored or left behind by the NRDCL. If we get a quarry, it would be better because then we could produce different types of aggregates and it will solve the problem.
The Shemgang Divisional Forestry Office said that the NRDCL is the sole authorized agency to operate quarries in the district. They added the office cannot issue or accept other private individuals to operate until the license of the NRDCL expires. Meanwhile, the NRDCL regional office in Bumthang said They are aware of the matter and are currently discussing the issue with the relevant stakeholders. For Pema Samdrup in Shimgang, this is Pasang Doji for BBS News.
Archer Karma will represent Bhutan in the upcoming Tokyo Olympics in Japan. She successfully achieved the required minimum qualification score of 605 in the national ranking competition held in Thimphu today. For the very first time, Bhutan will take part in the Olympics through an earned quota. Until today, Bhutan has been taking part in various Olympic Games through invitations and wildcard entries only.
Despite all the pressure, 30-year-old Karma from Tashiyangtse successfully managed to achieve the required score of 605. By the end of the competition, Karma had secured a score of 627. To achieve the required minimum score, the Bhutan Archery Federation organized a one-day national competition acknowledged by the World Archery at the Langju Phaka Archery Range today.
Olympic qualify base dream fulfill base
By achieving the minimum qualifying score today, I have fulfilled my dream to qualify for the Olympic Games. It is a history for the country. I am very happy with the achievement.
The Olympic qualify base then my base same guy
And now, Karma has another dream, and it is to win an Olympic medal for Bhutan.
Olympic qualify
Until today, my dream was to get myself qualified for the Olympic Games. Now that I have achieved this goal, I want to do something more by winning a medal for our country. For that, I will work very hard and give my best.
Like Karma, the country's first para-archer, Pema Rixil also successfully passed the minimum qualification score of 575. This means Pema can now represent Bhutan in the upcoming Tokyo Paralympic Games if Bhutan's participation is approved. He scored 601 points.
I'm very happy to achieve the MQS today. My only worry till today was whether I will be able to achieve the MQS. But I managed to score more than the required MQS, and it feels great.
Karma will now leave for the Games next month. She will be joined by Sangeet Tenzin, who has been recently selected to represent Bhutan in swimming at the Olympics Games for the first time. Likewise, the Bhutan Olympic Committee also plans to send 2 additional archers, 1 judo fighter and a shooter in the upcoming Olympic Games through wildcard entries. BOC currently has applied for the wildcard spot and is waiting for a response from the International Olympic Committee. This is Pasang Doji for BBS News.
A recap of the headlines. The National Assembly by-elections in Mongar and Nganglam constituencies on 29th June. A man arrested for allegedly stabbing his flatmate to death in Thimphu. And Archer Karma earns a place in the Tokyo Olympics in Japan. That brings us to the end of the day's bulletin. For updates, do visit our website at bbs.bt. We are also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and YouTube. Thank you for watching.
The Election Commission of Bhutan, in obedience to the royal decree of His Majesty the Druk Gyalpo issued on 14th of May 2021 and in pursuance to sections 577 and 579 of the Election Act of the Kingdom of Bhutan 2008, thereby issue this notification for by-elections for Mongar and Nganglum National Assembly Dimkons under Mongar and Pemagachal Zongkhaks respectively. The poll day for the by-elections shall be on 29th of June 2021 and the poll day shall be declared as a public holiday in the respective Dimkons. All employers are required by law to grant the required number of days as leave of absence for a reasonable period as is necessary to enable him or her to vote at the election, subject to the exceptions made in sections 339 and 341. However, due to COVID-19 pandemic, all voters residing outside the Dimkons are encouraged to register and vote through postal ballots.
The Natural Resources Development Corporation Limited informs its valued customers that the NRDCL is providing 5% one-time offer on tongue and groove blue pine wall panels. The panels that are manufactured from well-seasoned timbers will now be sold at Newton 67.45 per square feet from Wong Service Center at Ramtokto. This offer is valid from 17th of May to 30th of June 2021 or until the stock lasts. For inquiries, please call 1756-0827 or 1711-6865 or email at wangservicecenter@nrgcl.bt or visit its service center at Ramtokto. The customers can also check on other related products from www.nrgcl.bt. The Regional Office of the Department of Roads in Lingmithang invites bids from eligible bidders for the supply of hardware items and quarry materials and hiring of vehicle and machinery for the fiscal year 2021 to 2022. Tender documents must be submitted within 15th of June 2021 before 11 a.m. and it will be opened on 16th of June 2021 at 11 a.m. For more details, please visit www.egp.gov.bt. The management